1 second, guys. Never mind. All right, so in today's live, I've been using DeepSeek AI a lot recently. It actually helps a ton with my patient notes, with my record reviews, and really just to work on a lot of administrative like tasks that I need to get done every day. And so I figured that my audience is composed of a lot of pre-med students, medical students, even residents who are a little bit confused as to what do I want to end up doing? And again, like as a background, I'm a family medicine trained medical doctor, trained in the United States, went to UCLA, got my MD from a medical school in the Caribbean, and I am now I did a good amount of family medicine residency, and that's my training. And I basically went directly into medical legal consulting. I received certifications in medical ethics, medical jurisprudence, and now I basically travel the United States helping hospitals, clinics, patients, anyone who needs medical legal advice. That's basically what my business does. My business is Mizan Coaching LLC. Our contact information is in our profile if you ever want to work with us. But anyway, so I figured today, we could do something a little bit more lighthearted. Like we could basically go over what AI believes are the best medical specialties to specialize into in regards to work-life balance. And if you've watched my previous videos, you know that I'm a doctor that truly values my personal life. And so I feel that as a human being, we're not robots. Like we shouldn't just be working. We shouldn't just be working 24/7, right? Like even a 9 to 5 every single day. And the world of medicine is actually it's very taxing on not just your health and sleep, of course, but also on your family life, on family planning, like when to get married, when to have children. And so I figured this is a great video idea for all my juniors watching and anyone wanting to get into medicine. All right. So without further ado, I basically just asked DeepSeek AI, and ask any questions, guys, like leave the comments. Oh, let me make sure that. Very good. Okay. So anyone can chat. That's really great. What happened last time was I think the default setting was subscribers only. And so there were a lot of people that joined my live stream, but very few people were able to actually comment. And I was wondering whoa, there's dozens of people and there's 2 comments. So yeah, feel free to comment anything you guys would like. All right, so basically I just asked DeepSeek AI, what are the top 10 best medical specialties in regards to work-life balance? Organize the list into 1 paragraph each item and keep it lighthearted and informative. And this is what DeepSeek stated. And I kind of agree with it, but let me know what you guys think. All right. So DeepSeek AI wrote, here's a fun and informative rundown of the top 10 medical specialties for work-life balance, because even doctors deserve a life outside the hospital. These specialties let you save lives and have time for brunch. So number 1, DeepSeek stated, is dermatology. So number 1, dermatology, the glow-getter specialty. Dermatologists have it made. They work regular hours, rarely get emergency calls, and spend their days making people's skin look amazing. Whether it's treating acne, removing moles, or injecting Botox, their work is rewarding and predictable. Plus, they get to tell people to wear sunscreen, which is basically medical advice and life advice rolled into one. It's a perfect blend of medicine, surgery, and lifestyle. So what's really fascinating is, if there are doctors in watching right now, you all know this because we all had to do a dermatology rotation. So I actually did 2 dermatology rotations, one in medical school when I was in New York, and that was phenomenal because I'm from Los Angeles, so it's plastic surgery is a huge thing in Southern California, as we all know, and plastic surgery and dermatology go hand in hand, right? So, but in New York, plastic surgery isn't really as big of a thing, so it's usually just dermatology. It's usually just people with really bad skin issues. I suspect it's more so due to stress living in New York and just the hustle and bustle of the city. But in Los Angeles, it's like a lot of the dermatology patients that I would see are really there for very superficial reasons, which again, dermatology, skin, superficial, haha. But like they were really just like, oh, like, I don't like this mole on my face. It's not cancerous or anything. I just don't like it. But in New York, like it's really funny how like the United States is just a bunch of different cultures, right? So even in the medical world and with patients, it's just very different cultures. Um, anyway, so number one, AI says dermatology has the best work-life balance. From a medical point of view, like dermatology actually gets paid a very good amount. Like they get paid way above the annual salary of the average physician. And one of the reasons why, though, is simply because hospitals don't really need that many dermatologists. Like usually hospitals have maybe 2 to maximum 5 dermatologists at any given time. Um, this is in contrast to, generalists like internal medicine doctors or family medicine doctors. And again, the reason why simply is because there aren't that many cases, right? Like for every like there are hundreds if not thousands of COPD exacerbation cases or CHF exacerbation cases that require an internist to or a hospitalist to assess. But dermatology cases aren't, like number one, they're not very acute most of the time, or if at all. And number two, it's like, there just aren't that many cases in the hospital. All right, so usually dermatology is an outpatient career, which is great. Like I'm a huge proponent of outpatient care simply because if you care more about your personal life, then I would recommend outpatient care. All right, so number two is psychiatry, and so it states psychiatry, the mind masters. Psychiatrists have the luxury of regular office hours and the ability to build deep, meaningful relationships with their patients. They help people navigate life's challenges from anxiety to depression and often see incredible transformations. Plus, they rarely deal with emergencies unless someone's really, really upset about their zodiac sign. It's a mentally stimulating field with plenty of time for self-care because you can't pour from an empty cup. Yeah, and that's sorry about that. Like that's actually a really good summary of being a psychiatrist. Like just your daily life is basically providing CBT and giving prescription psych drugs. That's really it. And doing assessments and checking trends. A lot of my publications back when I was in pre-med med school are regarding child psychiatry. So I actually thought about going into child psychiatry, but then like being around psychiatrists, it's very clear that the more psychiatric problems you deal with in your work, it does kind of bleed into you. And like that's why a lot of many of my psychiatry mentors and attendings, like they basically explained to me that you really have to develop you have to develop thick skin and boundaries with your patients, simply because if you're around people that have, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, any type of self-harm or what have you, it's like it does affect you, right? So it's like a lot of these psychiatrists would tell me that, like, they go home and they try to vent to their wife or their husband and they don't react appropriately. But it's like, how many people have the mental, like, how many people have the backbone to hear about like a kid who wants to harm themselves or something, right? Um, so I remember I made the decision to go into family medicine simply because like I was like, look, I want to be a dad eventually, and I want to get married. I want to be a father. I want to be there for my kids. Like I don't want to share really scary stories with my family. And that actually does matter. Like, like it's not just about what you want. It's like what do you see your future being, right? So a lot of pre-med and med students, I feel like, and this is again talking to myself when I was younger, like we don't really think that far ahead, right? Like we're just like, oh my God, I want to be a heart doctor, I want to be a bone surgeon. And it's like they don't, you don't really think about what your life is going to actually look like 10 years down the line, 20, like when you have a wife and 2 kids or a husband and like 3 kids or something, right? Like you don't really think about that stuff. So hopefully this conversation kind of helps, elucidate a lot of things. Okay. Number three, DeepSeek AI saying that the best work-life balance job is a radiologist. So radiology, the darkroom detectives. Radiologists are the Sherlock Holmes of medicine. Absolutely true. solving mysteries from the comfort of a dimly lit room. They interpret X-rays, MRIs, uh, and CT scans, as well as a ton of other things like CTAs, etc. Often without the stress of direct patient interaction. Many radiologists work remotely, reading images from their home office in their pajamas. It's a high-tech, low-drama specialty that offers flexibility and a great work-life balance. Just don't forget to stretch. Sitting all day can be a pain. Um, so that's actually really true. So when I did my radiology rotation, I felt like I was in a dungeon, like you're in this room, no lights are on, and the radiologist is literally just reading images like hour after hour after hour. Um, and really like it and like the thing is the way that radiology works is that you don't know the patient, like you don't do direct patient care. You just literally just sign on to your work desk. If there is some sign out from the previous shift radiologist, you hear that, but usually usually it's just you and your computer. That's it. And you just get a barrage of imaging that needs to be read that day. And they're all organized by the level of priority. So things that are stat basically means you have to do it right now, right? Like it's an emergency situation. Like for example, imagine like a CT head, like a CAT scan of the head, in order to rule out stroke. So that would be what we call like a stat image. And like things that are not stat are like, if you're trying to investigate someone's heart health, but they're not having any issues, like their EKG is fine. And like a person just says, hey, look, like I've been having like some dyspnea, some like angina for like the past month. Can I just get like a TTE? Like a TTE stands for a transthoracic echocardiogram. Um, so again, like these things are not very, you don't really need to get these results in that quickly. Anyway, but radiology is a great field. Like if you don't like dealing with humans, I guess like if you don't like dealing, one-on-one with people all day long, like it's great because you just go to the hospital, and a lot of radiology jobs now are actually remote. Like these radiologists, doctors, like they just work from home. And you literally just interpret images like CAT scans, MRIs, and then just sign out when your shift is done. That's really it. But it is a lot of work though. Like, I don't want to make it seem like it's an easy field. Like they do, dozens, if not, I remember I worked with one radiologist who said his greatest number was, I think, 100 images in a single day. And like they don't really get RV. I don't know if they get RVUs or whatever. Um, oh, Ayush, good morning. How are you, man? Let me take a look. So Ayush wrote, hey, Dr. Mizan, I am here again. Just wanted to know post-USMLE journey and wanted to continue in cardiothoracic surgery. So please brief me or us the journey of practicing in US. Okay, yeah, well, you have a long ways to go, man. Like, I don't know, I'm not sure how old you are, but, and I don't know where you're from. Like, I'm assuming you're not from the US, right? So, um, but basically, like once you take your USMLEs, and right now we have step 1, 2, and 3. A few years ago, we actually had a two-part for the step 2, but right now it's just step 2. First year, India, AIIMS Delhi. Okay, yeah. So basically, what you're going, and I have a lot of friends that are from India. So basically, what you're going to do, number one, is like finish medical school. Try to be a great student. Like try to honor your courses. And then what you're going to do after you graduate med school. So you're going to get your MBBS, right? So so once you get your MBBS, Ayush, you need to apply for what's called residency in the United States. And the thing about residency here is that like you can get a work visa for that. So you can either get an H-1B or a J-1. And my recommendation is to get the H-1B, okay? So don't get the J-1. But the problem, very good, yeah. So take your USMLEs as quickly as possible. And I say this because a lot of my colleagues waited until residency to do their step 3. And it was really problematic. Like it's like, you're already managing patients, you have a full clinic residency schedule, and you also have to study and take a test. it doesn't bode well for a lot of people. Like I did all of my stuff really early, before residency. Yeah, so basically you would apply, you would go through the ECFMG, and then you would apply for residency programs in America. And because you want to do cardiothoracic surgery, you have to go through surgery, right? So you would apply for general surgery, and then later, so surgery is a really long thing, man. Like it's like 4 to 5 years depending on the program. And then you would have to specialize in cardiac surgery, and then there's another specialty that goes into cardiothoracic surgery. So it's a very long, you know, it takes many years to eventually get licensed in cardiothoracic surgery. But again, keep your options open, man. Don't limit yourself to a single thing, because it doesn't really matter. Like if you plan on living in America, like even if you're, like I'm a family medicine doctor, and now I run my own business, but even as a family medicine doctor, I lived really great. Like you don't need, you the calculation that I use is how many years of your life are you willing to give to training, right? Because when you're in training, you're not going to be making much money. So so if you really want to be a cardiothoracic surgeon, go for it, but just you're going to be like 40 years old, before you start making, $100,000. Yeah, that's the reality. Um, so, and again, like I know that, my friends who are from India and Bangladesh and Pakistan, like they don't know this stuff, right? Like they just think like, oh wow, like I want to be a surgeon in America. But it's like, no, you're not gonna make any money until you're like 40 to 45 years old. So, you know, but yeah. So I would say just finish your USMLEs, honor your classes. If work really hard. From the other time we were talking, you were saying that you have an exam soon. So best of luck. Like do it really well and try to be a really good student. Because in America they don't accept everybody, by the way, right? So if you're a foreigner, like we call them FMG, so foreign medical graduates, we only accept a few. So yeah. Okay, so number four, like the best work-life balance specialty is ophthalmology. Ophthalmology just means like an eye doctor. So it's not an optometrist. It's an so it's a medical degree that goes for specifically the eyes and diseases of the eyes, and also surgeries of the eyes. So I have a lot of colleagues that I have to call because I don't do eye medicine. So ophthalmology is great though. It's a very clean profession, right? Like compared to other doctor jobs that we have. So ophthalmologists have a clear vision of work-life balance. They perform life-changing procedures like cataract surgery and LASIK, often with predictable hours and minimal emergencies. Plus, they get to say cool things like, let's fix your 20/20 vision and you'll see better in no time. It's a specialty that combines medicine, surgery, and the joy of helping people see the world more clearly, literally. Yeah. So and ophthalmologists are, their annual salary is pretty good. And again, the reasoning why is simply because there aren't that many seats available. So it's each hospital, when I was in California, the hospital that I was associated with, they only had two ophthalmologists. So it's like if you're living in the city and you train to be an ophthalmologist, very likely you're going to have to move. Simply because hospitals don't need that many ophthalmologists to do all their cases. All right, number five is pathology. Pathology just means they look at tissue samples, and cultures. Absolutely, yeah. You're absolutely welcome, Ayush. And let me know anytime if you have any questions. I know right now it's nighttime in Delhi, so I hope you have a good night and best of luck on your exam, man. Like you got this. Like you will do very well. And all of these videos are posted in the live section of my channel. So you can see the rest of the video anytime. Yeah. All right. Take care. Yeah. Thanks for joining. Yeah. So pathology. So number five, pathology. Pathologists are the behind-the-scenes geniuses who diagnose diseases by studying tissues and lab results. They work regular hours, rarely deal with patient emergencies, and spend their days solving medical mysteries under a microscope. It's a quiet, intellectually stimulating field that offers plenty of time for hobbies, family, and binge watching your favorite shows. Just don't forget to come up for air. Microscopes can be addictive. Yeah, so like whenever I worked, like I never did a pathology elective or rotation, but I worked with a pathologist, and she would tell me that her life is great because she never sees a single patient. No one cares when she comes in. Like she just like goes in again, similar to radiologists, where like you just have some tasks that you need to do for the day, and you just do them. Um, so it's a great field if that's the way that you want to work. And again, same thing. Like they get paid greater than average simply because there aren't that many seats available in hospitals. Like hospitals usually have just a couple pathologists working at any given time. Number 6, physical medicine and rehabilitation. PMNR, the mobility magicians. PMNR specialists or physiatrists or physiatrists help patients recover from injuries and improve their quality of life. They work regular hours, often in outpatient settings, and focus on long-term recovery rather than acute emergencies. Whether it's helping someone walk again or managing chronic pain, their work is incredibly rewarding. Plus, they get to say things like, let's get you moving without breaking a sweat themselves. So PMNR is basically the medical degree equivalent of a physical therapist, but they're medical doctors. So you go through medical school and then you do residency in PMNR. And PMNR doctors are the ones that like they're the ones who deal with fibromyalgia, polymyalgia rheumatica, a lot of these like very like difficult MSK issues. MSK stands for musculoskeletal. And it's really nice because like it's good to have these experts on board. Because a lot of times, like especially our patients now in America are getting older. And so there's a lot of joint issues, a lot of just pain issues. So having PMNR is it's great to have. Okay, number 7, allergy and immunology, the sniffle solvers. So allergists and immunologists spend their days helping people breathe easier, whether it's treating hay fever, food allergies, or asthma. Their work is mostly outpatient with predictable hours and minimal emergencies. Plus, they get to perform cool tests like skin prick tests and patch tests. Basically, they're detectives for sneezes and rashes. It's a low stress, high reward specialty that leaves plenty of time for life outside the clinic. And again, this is very true. Like allergy physicians are pretty much all outpatient. Like I've never heard of a inpatient allergist or immunologist. But these are the doctors that have access to order a lot of extremely niche, like a lot of niche tests that like general doctors don't have access to. And so, they're the ones who order like, genetic tests to figure out like what, like, why is this person allergic to cotton or something. Yeah. All right, number 8, occupational medicine, the workplace wellness wizards. Occupational medicine specialists focus on keeping workers healthy and safe. They work regular hours, often in corporate or industrial settings, and deal with everything from workplace injuries to ergonomic assessments. It's a low stress specialty that combines public health, preventive medicine, and the occasional office chair adjustment. Plus, they get to say things like, let's make your workspace work for you. Yeah, so occupational medicine is great too. Like, it's a very niche field. There aren't that many. There's even a society for them, which is really great simply because there aren't that many. And so, like each industry, like let's say, I don't know, like the steel industry, like the steel making industry, like they need an occupational medicine doctor on like basically on call. Simply to if they do have any issues with workers, like a worker gets injured or something, then the OM doctor can help them. Yeah. All right, finally, number 9, me, family medicine. The jack of all trades. What? All right. Family medicine docs are the ultimate generalists, treating patients of all ages and backgrounds. And this is really cool because when I chose to become a family medicine doctor, like when I was doing my research, like I read a book by a very well-known family medicine doctor, and what he wrote was that if you become a family medicine doctor, you are basically taking care of patients from womb to tomb. So right, so like from the womb all the way to the tomb, all the way to death, because we deliver babies and we take care of elderly patients all the way up to comfort care. So like that's what attracted me to family medicine. It's like in my brain, it's like if I wanted to be I wanted to just be the doctor, right? Like the doctor that knows a little bit about everything and can treat like 90% of everything. And I'm very, very happy with my decision to go into family medicine. And if anybody else wants to go into family medicine, just email us, leave a comment. Happy to mentor you if you'd like. While family medicine doctors do have busy schedules, many work in outpatient settings with regular hours. They build long-term relationships with patients and their communities, which is incredibly rewarding. And this is very true. Like I would be invited to like my patients' like kids' birthday parties and their quinceañeras, and it was incredible. Like I absolutely I did love being an outpatient clinical family medicine doctor simply because the relationships that you build with your patients, I don't think you're going to get that with any other specialty. Simply because family medicine, I would have patients that are entire families. So like I remember I treated this very young family. It was a wife, husband, um this like 6-year-old girl, like 6-year-old daughter, and like a newborn, like a 1-year old, or sorry, like a 6-month-old boy. And it was a single family, right? So I was like, I know all of you guys. I know what I know your whole family. It's amazing. Yeah. Plus, they get to say things like, I've been your doctor since you were in diapers. It's a fulfilling specialty with plenty of opportunities for work life balance if you set boundaries. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Because, a lot of my colleagues, like the thing about family medicine is like you can literally do 90% of medicine, right? So a lot of family medicine doctors kind of like say like, oh my God, I could just keep working and working and working. And so it's like, yeah, you could, but then, but then like you'll be sacrificing time for yourself and time for your loved ones. So I would say, those of you who are interested in family medicine, like, learn from my example, like, set boundaries and just say, look, like, I'm only going to work this much. I'm only going to see this many patients. That's it. I'm happy with my salary. I'm happy with my work and my personal life. And finally, number 10, anesthesiology. So the chill specialists. Anesthesiologists have a unique blend of high stakes work and downtime. They're essential during surgeries, but often have predictable schedules and minimal on call responsibilities. Plus, they get to say things like, you'll feel a little pinch and count backward from 10. It's a specialty that offers a mix of adrenaline and relaxation, with plenty of time to enjoy life outside the operating room. Just don't fall asleep during the boring parts of surgery. Um, so anesthesiology is a great field simply because you they pay way higher than the average physician. However, again, same exact issues with the other higher than average physician specialties. Hospitals don't need that many anesthesiologists. So and again, like the work that you do is like you're basically tied to surgeries. So if a surgery lasts 30 minutes, you work 30 minutes. If a surgery lasts 8 hours, you're pretty much tied to that OR room and that surgery for 8 hours. Um, and so again, like it depends on what you enjoy doing, and the work itself is like basically adjusting sedatives, like sedatives and anesthesia. So like a lot of people enjoy this work, but some people actually leave, and like it's really funny because many people that I know in medicine, they go from like general surgery and they transition to anesthesiology, and many anesthesiologists transition from anesthesiology to a different specialty, like family medicine or general surgery, because they feel like there's not much to do as a job. So yeah, so there you have it. And so now, DeepSeek AI is saying there you have it, 10 specialties that let you save lives and have a life. Whether you're into glowing skin, solving medical mysteries, or just chilling in the operating room, there's a specialty out there for you. And this is something that I teach all my clients and juniors. Like, medicine is extremely broad. Like, if you love people, if you're an extrovert like me, you could be a family medicine doctor. You can do any sort of outpatient medicine where, like, you're actually talking to patients 24/7, or like however long your shift is. So and then if you're into like super duper high stress, you could be an emergency room doctor. If you like just reading and just like being alone and just processing things, you can be a radiologist, you can be a pathologist, you could be a histologist. There are a lot of different avenues in medicine that allow you to just, you know, to like your personality can be translated into a medical specialty. So hopefully this helps, like especially all the juniors who are, trying to become, and you will, like I believe in you, like, all of you trying to become doctors. Um, you got this, and hopefully this video helps like kind of elucidate what are the pros and cons of at least 10 of these medical specialties. And again, like my whole thing is just work-life balance, so hopefully this list helped. But yeah, that's all for today, and hope you guys, thank you for joining, and take care.